granted a licence to the SANFL in 1990, Port Adelaide thought it was theirs, only to fall short at the last minute to what is now known as the Adelaide Crows.
This decision by the Board of Directors of Port Adelaide is obviously the most significant move made by the club in its 120-year history.
They demanded that Port withdraw its bid and stop all negotiations with the AFL by 12 noon tomorrow.
This league will not support the Port Adelaide Football Club in any way in its bid to enter a team in the Australian Football
So we
League.
can't stop things now. They will go ahead.
It's understood one option is to ban the club from playing in the SANFL.
Then a silent and flushed Magpie group emerged.
We're going to have a very, very sad situation here in South Australian football.
Port Adelaide proud, given KG no sort of serve. He's got a police escort.
This is quite silly.
It's ridiculous.
The league sees Monday night's crucial AFL meeting as a big chance to block Port's bid.
If the clubs, for one reason or another, see fit to knock it back, then, you lose some, you win some.
They met at President Max Bashir's office this morning. After 2 hours, they put to a vote a plan to enter a composite team in the AFL under the same conditions as the AFL offered Port.
Injunction papers have been served on Port Adelaide, forcing them to appear in the Supreme Court on Friday.
We can't make any comment at the moment. The matters are before the court.
Mr Bashir says he hopes all aspects of the plan will be resolved this evening and a comprehensive package will be put to the AFL Wednesday. The SANFL is hoping its offer will be enough to swing AFL clubs away from Port Adelaide and toward a composite Adelaide side. They only need to convince one more club to vote no, and Port's plan is vetoed. The AFL's deferral last night was seen on both sides of the border as a setback for Port Adelaide.
And that the AFL Commission conduct further negotiations with all relevant parties in relation to the admission of a team from South Australia in the AFL competition.
It was revealed today that 4 years ago the SANFL registered a company called the Adelaide Football Club. Outside the court, the AFL's lawyer Jeff Brown kept in constant touch with his bosses.
We'll just wait and see what happens with the court case later today.
Heads of agreement between Port and the AFL expires in 6 hours, allowing the AFL and the SANFL to discuss a composite side.
In the announcement, the league will ask to move into the national competition next season.
And it's my view that they will accept the situation of a composite side.
I think our chances today are so much better than they were a month ago.
I'm very confident that we'll have a team for 1991 and we'll continue to work in that direction.
At 7:45 last night, the news finally broke. The deal is expected to be finalised within 24 hours.
The South Australian National Football League signed an agreement with the AFL commissioners in Melbourne last night. The spokesman says 7 more drafted players have decided to sign up with the composite side.
Mr Bashir and General Manager Lee Wicker were also elected today to an interim board for the Adelaide Football Club. They'll meet next week and will look to appoint a coach, followed by a general manager, then a Guernsey design and colours. Hopes to name a coach by Friday. Speculation is the grand final pair, John Cale and Graham Corns, are front-runners. The 42-year-old was announced as the man to lead Adelaide into the big league.
I guess my attitude has changed slightly. This team has come upon us a bit quicker than we perhaps could have imagined. We could have predicted 3 months ago that this would happen. Well, there's no way known, but I would have thought it was possible.
Port's bid had failed in a bloody court battle. However, their ambition to play in the AFL hadn't wavered. Again, in 1996, they weren't alone in the fight for the second South Australian AFL licence, but this time they would come out on top and be born as the Power.
But throughout it all, that black and white ambition of lining up in the AFL hasn't wavered. There was one notable absentee, President Bruce Webber, who hours earlier was dumped at the club's annual general meeting. Newest select group, Club 96. 96 being Port's target date to enter the AFL. The SANFL's business now is to determine the identity of the second side. Port Adelaide is the high-profile front-runner. Norwood and Sturt will hand-in-hand attempt to base South Australia's next AFL side in Adelaide's eastern suburbs. Central District stunned football circles with its plan to fold completely for an AFL team to be based at Elizabeth. After barely 4 years of operation and 1 premiership, the Woodville West Torrens Football Club no longer wants to exist in the SANFL. It will be the flagship club of the cartel and attempt to win the second AFL licence. Until now, the fierce Port-Norwood rivalry has been kept to the field. Now it's about to spill to the boardroom.
We should easily account for our payments.
You run the risk of not getting what's best for football, and what's best for football will be the strongest AFL team.
Early today, a team of Norwood and Sturt officials headed to Melbourne to sell their joint AFL bid. Magpies conclude that Port's proposal remains the outstanding alternative for the AFL.
I can't think of anything else in the 117 years of history of this league that's any bigger and more important than this decision.
AFL boss Ross Oakley arrived in town just before 1 o'clock. More than 4 years after its initial unsuccessful bid, Port Adelaide has realised its blinding ambition.
The second AFL Licence Subcommittee unanimously resolved that the Port Adelaide Football Club tender be recommended to the South Australian Independent Commission as the successful tenderer.
Coming second means pretty well shutting up shop, in my opinion. Now, I might be wrong, as I said earlier, but coming second means that you die.
Last night it was the other 8 clubs which met at the inner city offices of a high-profile law firm. It's believed they were told there may be legal grounds to expel the Magpies from the local competition. The club today confirmed it was expecting this reaction, so it sought its own legal opinion back in December last year.
Well, quite clearly they can't. We've taken that tack that we just get prepared as best we can.
The money whispers leaking out of rehearsals at the entertainment centre this afternoon say that it will be Port Power. As for the logo, expect a lightning bolt with a fist crashing through it.
Knocked down by the power-punching logo and exciting 3 Guernseys, they came away impressed.
Maybe instead of saying magpie, magpie, they'll be chanting power, power, power.
I would hope that the passion will still be with the SANFL club, and I mean, that's where our traditional colours and all this history, lovely, fantastic reputation has come from.
John Pale was appointed for 2 years, a stint which, despite the positive backdrop, has no starting date. Despite the uncertainty, the Power called its first AFL training session tonight, just 22 days after the grand final.
It's obviously becoming a little less likely the closer we get to the 31st.
I think they have diminished.
None of the existing AFL clubs had advised the AFL Commission that they were prepared to merge by the deadline of October 31st.
Port Adelaide will be playing in the Australian Football League next year if the AFL Commission has its way.
We need to give South Australia, the South Australian Commission and Port Adelaide an answer, and this provides them with the answer they've been looking for.
Port Adelaide's first finals appearance would come in 1999 after finishing on top in 2002 and 2003.